Welcome to my videos. PL-400, Microsoft Power Platform Developer Latest Exam 100 Questions and Answers. Company manages capital equipment for an electric utility company. The company has a SQL Server database that contains maintenance records for the equipment. Technicians who service the equipment use the Dynamics 365 Field Service mobile app on tablet devices to view scheduled assignments. Technicians use a Canvas app to display the maintenance history for each piece of equipment and update the history. Managers use a Power BI dashboard that displays Dynamics 365 field service and real-time maintenance data. Due to increasing demand, managers must be able to work in the field as technicians. You need to design a solution that allows the managers to work from one single screen. What should you do? A. Add the Maintenance History app to the Field Service mobile app. B. Add the Manager Power BI dashboard to the Field Service mobile app. C. Create a new Maintenance Canvas app from within the Power BI Management dashboard. D. Add the Maintenance History app to the Power BI dashboard. Correct answer, D. You work for a staffing company that helps employees fill temporary jobs. Available temporary jobs are categorized and listed on a secure area of the company's website. The company wants to eliminate manual work that relates to job and candidate management. The company plans to invite employers with available jobs and job candidates to view jobs by sending personalized invitations. The company identifies the following requirements. Human resources team members from the staffing company must be able to access the jobs listing and post available positions. Employers seeking temporary employees must also be able to access the jobs listing and post available positions. Approved job candidates must be notified about new positions for which they are qualified. Approved job candidate must have an option to accept a job assignment directly from a notification. You need to perform a gap analysis against the features and capabilities of the Power Platform. Which features should you implement? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Requirement: create the job listings portal. Feature custom self-service portal for both employers and job candidates. Requirement: create an app that lists available positions. Feature model-driven app with push notifications. Requirement: create the app for employers who are seeking temporary employees. Feature web form with target set to the job custom entity. Requirement: create invitation parameters for job candidates. Feature configure a value for the execute workflow on redeeming contact option only. Requirement: create invitation parameters for approved job candidates. Feature configure a value for the assign to account option only. You create a suite of Power Platform-based order management Canvas apps for a bakery that has 5 retail stores. Each store uses a tablet device to manage inventory and process orders. You need to make the following changes to the original order tracking app. When an online order for delivery is received, send the order to the bakery that is located closest to the order destination. When an online order for pickup is received, require store staff to enter an estimated time in an app. Staff must prepare the order and then use the app to notify the customer when the order is ready. Allow the store manager to personalize the company's corporate weekly newsletter and add store-specific specials. You must minimize the amount of custom code and configuration required to implement the solution. What should you use? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Requirement: determine which store is closest to the order destination. Implementation option: Power Automate Flow. Requirement: estimate the time required to prepare an order and notify the customer. Implementation option: new screen in an existing order Canvas app. Requirement: send the newsletter by email to customers. Implementation option: Power Automate Flow triggered from an email button. A company has an application that provides API access. You plan to connect to the API from a Canvas app by using a custom connector. You need to request information from the API developers so that you can create the custom connector. Which 2 types of files can you use? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. YAML. B. WSDL. C. Open API definition. D. Postman collection. Correct answer, C and D. You plan to create a Canvas app to manage large sets of records. Users will filter and sort the data. You must implement delegation in the Canvas app to mitigate potential performance issues. You need to recommend data sources for the app. Which 2 data sources should you recommend? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. SQL Server. B. Common Data Service. C. Azure Data Factory. D. Azure Table Storage. Correct answer, A and B. A client is deploying Dynamics 365 Finance without any third-party add-ons. You need to select the appropriate solutions for the client. What should you select? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Scenario: warehouse employees can use mobile devices to scan barcodes by using Dynamics 365 Finance. Solution: out of the box. Scenario: the location of field technicians can be communicated with a text message from Dynamics 365 Field Service. Solution: Power Automate. A company uses Microsoft 365. You are developing a model-driven app. The app must meet the following requirements: use SharePoint Online for document storage. Send emails by using Exchange Online. You need to configure integrations. What should you configure? To answer, drag the appropriate configuration options to the correct requirements. Each configuration option may be used once, more than once, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. Select and place. Requirement: email configuration option, server-side synchronization. Requirement: document storage configuration option, server-based integration. A company plans to create an order processing app. When orders are created, the app will perform complex business logic and integrate with several external systems. Orders that have a large number of line items may take up to 6 minutes to complete. Processing for each order must be completed in one operation to avoid leaving records in an incomplete state. You need to recommend a solution for the company. What should you recommend? A. An asynchronous workflow that uses a custom workflow activity. B. A real-time workflow that uses a custom action. C. A webhook that connects to an Azure function. D. An asynchronous plugin. Correct answer, B. You work for not-for-profit agency that manages business processes by using Power Platform custom entities. Volunteer registration and onboarding are manual processes that include multiple related entities. You need to implement a portal solution that replaces the manual processes. Which modules should you use? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Requirement: create a portal by using a portal template module, customer self-service portal. Requirement: manage volunteer registration module, entity form metadata. You are implementing custom business logic in a PowerApps portal. You need to use liquid templates to display dynamic content. To which 3 entities can you include liquid code? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Content snippet. B. Web page. C. Web template. D. Page template. E. Portal settings. Correct answer, B, C, D. Teachers in a school district use Azure Skill Bots to teach specific classes. Students sign into an online portal to submit completed homework to their teacher for review. Students use a Power Virtual Agents chatbot to request help from teachers. You need to incorporate the skill bot for each class into the homework bot. Which 3 actions should you perform in sequence? To answer, move the appropriate actions from the list of actions to the answer area and arrange them in the correct order. Select and place. Action: create a manifest for the skill bot. Action: register the skill bot in Power Virtual Agents. Action: register the homework bot in Power Virtual Agents. A company is migrating from an on-premises Dynamics 365 installation to a Power Platform solution. You are creating plugins for the new solution. You need to register the plugins. Which isolation mode should you use? A. None. B. Global Assembly Cache, GAC. C. Sandbox. D. Disk. Correct answer, C. An organization uses a public-facing PowerApps portal. You need to change the layout of a specific web page. What are two possible ways to achieve the goal? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Select the Portal Management app and then select Edit. B. Select the Portal Management app and then select Play. C. Select the Portal app and then select Manage. D. Select the Portal app and then select Edit. Correct answers, A and D. You are building a custom application in Azure to process resumes for the HR department. The app will monitor submissions of resumes and parse the resumes. You need to parse the resumes and save contact and skills information into the common data service. Which mechanism should you use? A. Power Automate. B. Common Data Service Plugin. C. Web API. D. Custom Workflow Activity. Correct answer, A. You are researching integrations with several external systems. Each integration has different requirements. You need to determine which data sources to use to meet each requirement. What should you use? To answer, drag the appropriate data sources to the correct requirements. Each data source may be used once, more than one, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. Select and place. Requirement: support records that use an integer as a primary key. Object virtual entity. Requirement: ensure that data can be read and updated. Object virtual entity. Requirement: ensure that data is available to all Microsoft Dataverse clients. Object custom connector. A Power Platform solution includes the following web API call: get http://conteso.crm.dynamics.com/api/data/v9.1/relationship definitions ? $select equals schema name. You need to explain what this line of code is doing. What does the code do? A. Retrieve the list of relationships between tables. B. Retrieve a list of tables that are related to each other. C. Retrieve a list of one-to-many relationships with other tables. D. Retrieve a list of tables that have more than one relationship. E. Retrieve a list of many-to-many relationships with other tables. Correct answer, A. You create a Power Automate flow that retrieves data from the Microsoft Dataverse account table. The flow uses only a subset of account table data. You need to retrieve the required data. How should you configure the Dataverse list rows action? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. Data point: full name of the primary contact method. Expand query equals primary contacted, $select equals full name. Account with the highest credit limit method. Row count equals 1 and sort by equals credit limit DESC. You are creating a Canvas app to retrieve user sign-in information from Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, when someone searches for information about an end user. You create an Azure function to retrieve the required information by using JSON. You need to ensure that the application functions correctly. Which two actions should you perform? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. A. Create a Power Automate flow to import data. B. Create a custom connector by using the Azure Function API. C. Use App Designer in the Power Platform Admin Center. D. Use Azure Service Bus. E. Create an API definition for the Azure function. Correct answers, A and E. A company is configuring Microsoft Power Virtual Agents and Power Automate flows that use model-driven apps. The company has a website that uses Power Pages. You create Power Virtual Agents bot topics. You must configure the following: use a bot on the website. Create bot framework skills. Create a support request from the bot without human interaction. You need to configure the website. Requirement: use a bot on the website. Application: Power Pages. Requirement: create bot framework skills. Application: Power App. Requirement: create support request from the bot. Application: Power Virtual Agents. You are configuring a custom connector for a web service. The web service is hosted in 2 different regions. The web service URL includes a common domain name and a unique subdomain for each region. The custom connector must allow the region to be entered for additional regions when creating the connection. You need to create a policy template. Which template type should you use? I. Set HTTP header. B. Route request. C. Set host URL. D. Set query string parameter. Correct answer, C. PowerApps Maker creating a chatbot for a website. The chatbot must recognize geographic attributes to enable additional functionality. You need to recommend a feature. What should you recommend? A. Fallback topic. B. Power Automate flow. C. Bot service compliance. D. Slot filling. Correct answer, D. You develop and deploy a PowerApps solution. The following changes must be made to the solution. Delete a column of data. Modify several views. Add several charts to dashboards. You need to redeploy the app. What should you do? A. Update the solution. B. Upgrade the solution. C. Create a new solution. D. Patch the solution. Correct answer, B. You develop a model-driven app. You add the following users as members to the Sales Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, Security Group, User 1, User 2, and User 3. The Sales Azure AD Security Group is linked to a pre-existing Microsoft Dataverse Azure AD Security Group team that is associated with the Sales Security role. You assign each of the appropriate licenses to each user. User 1 is not listed in the team members subgrid for the app. User 2 and User 3 are listed in the subgrid. You need to ensure that User 1 can use the model-driven app. What should you do? A. Change the membership of the Sales Azure AD Security Group to Dynamic User. B. Change the membership type for User 1 to Owner in the Azure AD Security Group. C. Create an owner team for the members of the Sales Azure AD Group. D. Ask User 1 to sign into the model-driven app. Correct answer, D. You are modifying a model-driven app for a bicycle company. The app modifications must meet the following requirements. The order form must include a column that calculates payments based on how many years the customer wants to finance a bicycle. A pop-up box must remind the employee to validate the information entered before saving. You must use out-of-the-box features before customizing the application. What should you do? Requirement: calculate payments action, configure an out-of-box feature. Requirement: a pop-up box must appear, action, edit XML. A university implements Dynamics 365 sales. Several departments use opportunity records to bid for funding for projects within their own departments. You configure the system to ensure that each department can only work on their own records. Employees in multiple departments often need to work together on an opportunity. Employees report that they are not able to see opportunities from other departments. You need to ensure that employees from more than one department can work on the same opportunities when necessary. Solution: use position hierarchy security and define the two departments as positions. Does the solution meet the goal? A. Yes. B. No. Correct answer, A. A university implements Dynamics 365 sales. Several departments use opportunity records to bid for funding for projects within their own departments. You configure the system to ensure that each department can only work on their own records. Employees in multiple departments often need to work together on an opportunity. Employees report that they are not able to see opportunities from other departments. You need to ensure that employees from more than one department can work on the same opportunities when necessary. Solution: create a security role that has organization-level access to opportunities. Give this security role to all members of the two departments who need access. Does the solution meet the goal? A. Yes. B. No. Correct answer, B. A university implements Dynamics 365 sales. Several departments use opportunity records to bid for funding for projects within their own departments. You configure the system to ensure that each department can only work on their own records. Employees in multiple departments often need to work together on an opportunity. Employees report that they are not able to see opportunities from other departments. You need to ensure that employees from more than one department can work on the same opportunities when necessary. Solution: use access team templates and give access to members in the two departments. Does the solution meet the goal? A. Yes. B. No. Correct answer, B. An international organization has a series of client-server applications that manage red light cameras and traffic violations across a wide geographic region. The daily volume of traffic violations is very high and growing. You plan to use Microsoft Power Platform apps to manage the following types of data. Existing vehicle licensing data must be imported into Microsoft Dataverse and easily queried. Red light camera images must be stored in a repository for later analysis. Information about traffic violations must be stored and related to vehicle details. You need to select data storage mechanisms for the new apps. Which data storage mechanisms should you use? To answer, drag the appropriate data storage mechanisms to the correct data types. Each storage mechanism may be used once, more than once, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. Data type: vehicle licensing data storage mechanism entity. Data type: red light camera photos data storage mechanism Azure storage blob. Data type: information about traffic violations data storage mechanism Azure Cosmos DB. A financial institution that has a Dynamics 365 sales environment requires that the account balance field from the account entity be visible to specific users only. You need to set up the field security for the account balance field. Which 3 actions should you perform? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Set the field to read only and then publish the entity. B. Set the field permission allow read to yes and add the users to the members section. C. Create a security role and add the specific users to the role. D. Enable field security and then publish the entity. E. Create a field security profile. Correct answer, B, D, E. An organization uses Common Data Service. The organization's IT help desk requires a single-page web application to monitor and manage data export service. The app must access data export service securely. The app must also permit help desk users to perform a limited set of functions. You need to create a single-page app. Which options should you use? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Requirement: connect to the app securely option. Register the app in Azure Active Directory. Requirement: monitor the status of data replication option. Use fetch XML queries. Requirement: enable an entity for replication option. Enable change tracking. Requirement: start or stop data replication option /crm/exporter/profiles/id/activate data. Requirement: view information on records that fail to sync option. Use profile operations. A company has a Common Data Service, CDS, environment. The following conditions must apply when accounts are reassigned. Ownership for completed tasks that are associated with the account must not change. Outstanding tasks must be reassigned to the new owner of the account. You need to configure the relationship to meet the requirements. Which settings should you use? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. Condition: relationship behavior type setting referential, restrict delete. Condition behavior for the assigned action setting cascade user owned. A company has Common Data Service, CDS, environments for development, test, and production. You have a model-driven app that consists of 2 solutions. The solutions include settings and reference data. You plan to move the solutions, app settings, and reference data from a development environment to a production environment. You export each solution from the development environment as a zip file. You run the configuration manager to export the settings and reference data as zip files. You need to prepare the app and its settings for deployment. Which 4 actions should you perform in sequence? To answer, move the appropriate actions from the list of actions to the answer area and arrange them in the correct order. Actions. 1. Add solution and data files to the PKG folder in the project. 2. Define the solution and data files and import config.sme. 3. Build the package. 4. Run the package deployer tool. You have a model-driven app that uses the Common Data Service, CDS. You create 3 custom entities that are in many-to-one parental relationships with the account entity. You run a real-time workflow that assigns an account you own to another user. You receive the error message as shown in the error message exhibit. Click the Error Message tab. You check the security roles for the user as shown in the Manage User Roles exhibit. Click the Manage User Roles tab. You also check the privileges for that role as shown in the Common Data Service User Security Role exhibit. Click the Security Role tab. You need to prevent the error from recurring. For each of the following statements, select Yes if the statement is true. Otherwise, select No. Changing the append to privilege on the account entity to organization prevents the error from recurring. Statement No. Adding the environment maker role to the user prevents the error from recurring. Statement No. Adding the system customizer role gives the user more access than needed to prevent the error from recurring. Statement Yes. Setting all the privileges for the building entity to user prevents the error from recurring. Statement Yes. A company is creating a new system based on Microsoft Dataverse. You need to select the features that meet the company's requirements. Which options should you use? To answer, drag the appropriate options to the correct requirements. Each option may be used once, more than once, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. Requirement: visualize records as a hierarchy in a model-driven app. Option 1-to-many relationship. Requirement: records in one entity must be able to reference only a single record in another entity. Option 1-to-many relationship. Requirement: any record in one entity must be able to be referenced by any record in another entity. Option many-to-many relationship. A school district wants to standardize student information and student performance records. Students in the district are assigned to a specific school. Students are evaluated using class records. When students move between schools in the middle of a school year, the student's current class history must be available to the administrators at the new school. You need to configure Microsoft Dataverse tables to connect the class history records to their respective class records. How should you configure the table? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Configuration setting: table ownership for the class record table. Value team. Configuration relationship of the class history table to the student table. Value. Many to one. Configuration behavior of the relationship between the class history table and the student table. Value parental. You are developing an app for a sales team to record contact details in Microsoft Dataverse. The app must handle loss of network and save the data to Dataverse when reconnected. The main screen of the app has a form to collect contact data and a button. The onSelect property for the button has the following expression: the expression saves the data to CDS when reconnecting after losing network connection. Statement Yes. The collection created by the patch statement contains all contacts not saved to CDS. Statement No. The expression updates existing contacts in CDS. Statement No. The expression handles loss of connection to CDS. Statement Yes. You are creating a new page for a PowerApps portal. You need to display data from Microsoft Dataverse on the page. What should you use? A. Liquid. B. CSS. C. iframe. D. Bootstrap. Correct answer, A. You are creating a Canvas app for a company. A security role has been created for sales representatives and a second security role has been created for sales managers. The Canvas app has the following requirements: sales managers must be able to view the records of the salespeople in their business unit. Sales managers must be the only people who can view sales probability data in opportunity records. Sales representatives and new hires assigned to the same territory share access to sales records. You need to assign permissions for the app. Which security options should you use? To answer, drag the appropriate security options to the correct scenarios. Each security option may be used once, more than once, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. Scenario: sales managers must be able to view the records of the salespeople in their business unit. Security option: role-based security. Scenario: sales managers must be the only people who can view sales probability data in opportunity records. Security option: field level security. Scenario: sales representatives and new hires assigned to the same territory share access to sales records. Security option: record level security. You are synchronizing company data from a SQL Server-based .NET application into a Common Data Service (CDS) environment. The data is entered in both the SQL Server and CDS systems. You have a program that includes the following code. Creating a new field to store the record identifier from the database resolves the error. The specified key attributes are not a defined key for the account entity. Statement no. Creating an alternate key that uses the account number field resolves the error. The specified key attributes are not a defined key for the account entity. Statement yes. If an account exists with only the account name entered as Contiso and all other fields empty, a new account record is created. Statement yes. If an account exists that uses the account number CO555, new account record is created. Statement no. A company is creating a new system based on the Microsoft Dataverse. You need to select the Dataverse features that meet the company's requirements. Which features should you select? To answer, drag the appropriate features to the correct requirements. Each feature may be used once, more than once, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. Requirement: when a primary record is deleted, the associated referential records must also be deleted. Feature: referential. Requirement: when a record is assigned to a user, all referencing active records must also be assigned to that user. Feature: cascade, user owned. Requirement: when a primary record is deleted, the associated record must not be deleted. Feature: referential. Restrict delete. Implements Dynamics 365 Sales. Only sales managers must be able to perform the approval to move high-value sales on in the opportunity qualification process. A new field must be created to capture the approval. You need to create and secure the new field. Which 3 actions should you perform in sequence? To answer, move the appropriate actions from the list of actions to the answer area and arrange them in the correct order. Actions. Enable field security in the approval field. Create a new field security profile. Set the field permissions for the new field to enable read, update, and create, and add the sales manager as a member of the field security profile. A company delivers packages to businesses and consumers. A custom entity named package captures the package details. You need to add the following sets of fields to the entity and leverage the built-in operations of the platform: a set of fields to represent the package length, width, depth, and weight. The maximum value for any dimension is 100 centimeters. A set of fields for time-sensitive attributes to calculate the efficiency of a delivery. The calculation must be based on a delivery is entered in the system and the value for a custom field named delivery time. Which constructs should you use? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Requirement: calculate the efficiency of the delivery. Construct different minutes created on delivery time. Requirement: select the data type for delivery that has additional transformations applied before the data is displayed. Construct duration. A financial services company uses the Common Data Service (CDS) to develop solutions. The company uses development and production instances. You need to move solutions from the development instance to the production instance. What are 2 possible ways to achieve this goal? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. In the development instance, make changes to the solutions that are deployed in the production instance, export the solutions as managed solutions, and import the managed solutions into the production instance. B. In the development instance, highlight the solution you want to make changes to, select Clone a Patch, make changes, export the solution, and import the solution into the production instance. C. Export all managed solutions from the development instance and import the solutions into the production instance. D. In the production instance, import solutions with the same version number or higher when updating solutions. Correct answer, A and B. A company uses Common Data Service, CDS, and manages their engineers using a model-driven app. You create a new reusable custom component named Component 1 by using the PowerApps Component Framework, PCF. You need to package component 1 for deployment into the model-driven app. Which 3 commands should you run in sequence? To answer, move the appropriate actions from the list of actions to the answer area and arrange them in the correct order. You are developing a model-driven app. The app uses data from 2 custom tables. The tables have a parent-child relationship. The parent record form contains a subgrid that displays the child records. When creating a new child record from the parent form, data must automatically populate in the child record form to reduce data input errors. You need to implement the solution. What should you do? A. Use a Power Automate flow to read data from the parent record and update the child record upon creation. B. Map table columns from the parent record to the child record. C. Create a business rule that sets the default values on the child record fields to values from the parent record. D. Include a quick view form on the child record showing the data from the parent record. Correct answer, B. A company has a common data service, CDS, environment. All accounts in the system with a relationship type of customer set must have an account number. A plugin has been developed. When a customer is updated with a relationship type, the plugin sets the account number if not provided by the user. You need to register the plugin. Which 3 actions should you perform in sequence? To answer, move the appropriate actions from the list of actions to the answer area and arrange them in the correct order. Actions. In the plugin registration tool, select Register New Assembly. In the plugin registration tool, select Register New Step. Set the message to update, primary entity to account, and event pipeline stage of pre-operation. In the plugin registration tool, select Register New Image, change the image type be a prowess, and ensure the account number is included as a parameter. You are developing a Power Platform solution for medical practice. You create a custom table named Doctors to record details about the doctors who work at the medical practice. You must be able to attach a PDF copy of a doctor's medical license to the row for each doctor. You need to configure the table. What should you do? A. Create a Power Automate flow to add attachments. B. Navigate to table options and enable attachments. C. Navigate to column options and enable attachments. D. Create relationships between the doctor table and the notes table. Correct answer, C. You are creating a package for a Power Platform solution. The package will include custom code and sample data. The package must include all files that need to be installed. You need to configure the package. Which setting should you use? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Configuration option file that you must edit to include custom code.value package template.cs. Configuration file to edit to include sample data. Import config.zme. Configuration value for the copy to output directory setting. Copy always. You plan to populate records in a Microsoft Dataverse entity containing an option set field. The source system has the label for the option set but not the corresponding integer value. You are using a non.NET programming language. You need to find the integer value for the option set. What should you do? A. Use Web API and use a picklist attribute metadata request. B. Use the organization service and execute a retrieve option set request. C. Use Web API and use an insert option value action. D. Use the organization service and execute a retrieve attribute request. Correct answer, B. A travel company has a common data service, CDS, environment. The company requires the following: custom entities that track which regions clients have traveled. The dates their clients traveled to these regions. You need to create the entities and relationships to meet the requirements. Which 3 actions should you perform? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Create a in relationship from contact to the region entity. B. Create a 1:n relationship from the contact region intersect entity and region. C. Create an intersect entity named contact region and create 1:n relationships to contact and region. D. On the main form for contact region, add lookup fields for contact and region, and a date field for the visit date. E. Create a 1:n relationship from contact to the region entity. F. Create the region entity. G. On the main form for contact region, add a subgrid to view country information. H. Create an intersect entity named contact region and create 10:1 relationships to contact and region. Correct answer, C, D, F. You are troubleshooting PowerApps solutions. You need to determine the cause for the identified issues. What is the root cause for each issue? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. Issue Solution Checker completes a run and reports errors for one solution but completes without errors for a different solution. Reason a Canvas app in the first solution has errors. Issue You encounter an error on line 3 of a web resource as shown below. Reason the code uses the following rule: Web Use Strict Mode. A company uses common data service roll-up fields to calculate insurance exposure and risk profiles for customers. Users report that the system does not update values for the roll-up fields when new insurance policies are written. You need to recalculate the value of the roll-up fields immediately after a policy is created. What should you do? A. Create new fields on the customer entity for insurance exposure and risk. Write a workflow process that is triggered when a new policy record is created to calculate the sum of values from policy records. B. Update the mass calculate roll-up field job to trigger when a new policy record is created. C. Change the frequency of the calculate roll-up field recurring job from every hour to every 5 minutes. D. Create a plugin that uses the calculate roll-up field request method for the roll-up field. Configure a step on the create event for the policy entity for this plugin. Correct answer, D. The communication department for a company plans to add a publicly accessible survey page to the company's public website. You must add the new survey page to the company's public website and capture data from the page to a Microsoft Dataverse environment. Explicit user credentials must not be required to write survey data to Dataverse. You need to implement authentication. Which authentication mechanism should you implement? A. ADFS. B. Azure AD Conditional Access. C. Azure Guest Account. D. Client Secret. Correct answer, C. You are a Power App maker. You are developing an app in a development environment. You create the following custom forms in the account entity. Form contains a message that appears in the onload function of the form. Form C contains a message that appears in the onSave function of the form. You add the forms to a solution and export the solution as managed. Importing the managed solution into the test environment produces an error indicating the solution is missing a component. You need to identify the issue. What is the cause of the import error? A. The web resources were not added to the form before adding the form to the solution. B. The solution must be exported as an unmanaged solution. C. The web resources were not added to the solution before exporting. D. A copy of the form must be made before adding to the solution. Correct answer, C. You are developing a model-driven app for a company. The app must map child records to a parent record. You need to use the column mapping feature to configure the app. Which two actions can you perform? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Map the value of a choices column on the child table to the value of a choices column on the parent table. B. Map the value of a column on the parent table that uses column values from the child table. C. Map the value of columns on both the child table quick create and main forms to the value for the same columns on the parent table. D. Map the value of a single line of text column on the child table to the value of a currency column on the parent record. Correct answer, A, C. You are creating a Power Platform solution for a fitness studio. Members of the studio will use the solution to track their progress towards fitness goals. Personal trainers create programs with different exercises to match a member's fitness level. Members can opt into a program to submit information about their progress with exercises suggested by a trainer. Fitness programs and exercises have specific durations, prices, and dates. You need to ensure that members can see all of the exercises that a trainer suggests in their calendars. What should you use? To answer, drag the appropriate options to the data types. Each option may be used once, more than once, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. Data type fitness program option standard table with user or team ownership. Data type exercise option activity table with user or team ownership. You have a Microsoft Power Platform solution that includes Canvas apps and Power Automate cloud flows. The Canvas apps and flows interact with a third-party content management system, CMS. You store the URL for the CMS version, development or production, in an environment variable. You deploy the solution to a production environment. You observe that the environment variable references the development URL for the CMS. You update the URL value of the variable directly in the production environment. You need to assess which environment variable value will be used in the following scenarios. Which versions of the environment variable will the solution use? To answer, drag the appropriate environment variable versions to the correct scenarios. Each environment variable version may be used once, more than once, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. Scenario Canvas app sessions open during the update. Environment variable version development scenario Canvas app sessions launched after the update. Environment variable version production. Scenario Power Automate flows which have been saved after the update. Environment variable version production. You are developing a Canvas app for a healthcare center. You need to create custom tables for the solution. You have the following requirements: store information about doctors. Table type standard. Store information about prescription medications. Table type virtual. You are mapping data from an enterprise resource planning (ERP) system to Microsoft Dataverse. You must reference the name and email from the ERP system during mapping to ensure that records are unique. You need to create an alternate key that references the name and email columns. How should you create the key? A. Add a PowerApps command function. B. Use PowerFX. C. Add column to the account table in Dataverse. D. Create a key in the account table in Dataverse. Correct answer, D. You develop a model-driven app to include a form containing several columns. Two groups of users, named Group 1 and Group 2, will access the form. A column contains sensitive data that should not be read by Group 2. Group 1 must be able to access the column. You need to prevent Group 2 users from viewing the sensitive data. What should you do? A. Create a security role for users in Group 1 to grant users access to the column. B. Create multiple forms. Assign a form containing the sensitive data to Group 1. Assign a form that does not contain the sensitive data to Group 2. C. Use JavaScript to set visibility of the column based on the group of the current user. D. Create a field-level security profile for Group 1 users to grant the users access to the column. Correct answer, D. Deploys a set of automation processes. A process generates errors. A portion of the error log is displayed below. The error is generated by a flow action. Statement no. The code represents an authentication error. Statement no. The code does not declare a team ID. Statement yes. The following code updates the customer size code choice column on the account table if the number of employees column value is greater than 100. Line numbering is provided for information only. Does the retrieve method use the correct parameters? Statement yes. Will a plugin triggered on the update of the number of employees column execute after the update method is executed? Statement no. Will an exception be thrown if the value for number of employees is null? Statement no. You are developing a PowerApps app to manage records in the account table in Microsoft Dataverse. You must configure a web API request to retrieve changes from the table. You need to configure the preference header for the API request. What should you include in the request header? A. OData.next link. B. OData.context. C. OData.delta link. Correct answer, C. You enable change tracking on the account table in Microsoft Dataverse. You plan to use the organization service to retrieve the Delta data by using C#. You need to determine which message to use. What should you use? A. Retrieve attribute request. B. OData.track changes. C. Retrieve entity changes request. D. Update entity request. E. Update request. Correct answer, B. A Microsoft Dataverse database contains two custom tables named Tabli and Tablab. The tables are configured with the following: a one-to-many relationship is configured between Tabli and Tablab. A lookup to Tabli appears on a form in Tablab. Both tables are components of an unmanaged solution. Both tables are components in a Power BI report. You receive an error when attempting to delete Tabli. You need to delete the table. What should you do? A. Remove Tabli from the Power BI report. B. Remove the relationship between Tabli and Tablab. C. Remove Tabli from the unmanaged solution. D. Remove the lookup field to Tabli on the Tablab form. Correct answer, B. A company uses SharePoint for its intranet and other functions. The company has also implemented model-driven apps. SharePoint users must be able to create contact records in Microsoft Dataverse without having to navigate to the model-driven apps. You need to create a link in SharePoint to open the Dataverse contact form displaying data from SharePoint. How should you complete the URL? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. http://contasso.crm.dynamics.com/main.asks @= contact and extracts = param _1% 3 SharePoint and page type = entity record. A company uses a model-driven app to record details of laboratory test. You are asked to create a custom component that makes it easier to capture multiple values from lab test results on mobile devices. You need to create the interface for the dataset in case the mobile devices lose connection to the network. Which method should you use? A. Save data. B. Update view. C. Init. D. Get client. Correct answer, A. Technicians for a company use a model-driven app on their phones to record information about service visits. Users do not have permissions to the PowerApps Maker portal to create or update apps. Technicians report issues with a model-driven app. You are unable to reproduce the issues in a development environment. You need to provide instructions to the technicians to gather more details about the errors. Which 4 actions should you recommend be performed in sequence? To answer, move the appropriate actions from the list of actions to the answer area and arrange them in the correct order. Actions: 1. Open the app in a browser on the phone. 2. Add the following text to the end of the URL for the app, and monitor = true. 3. Perform the steps to generate the errors and download the results from Monitor. 4. Open the application in a browser on a laptop computer when they return to the office. You are creating a model-driven app. Users need to see only the entities in the app navigation that are relevant to their role and their method of accessing the app. You need to restrict entities on the sub-areas in the sitemap. Which properties should you use? To answer, drag the appropriate properties to the correct requirements. Each property may be used once, more than once, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. Requirement: ensure that the entity is visible only if the user can create records. Property privileges. Requirement: ensure that the entity is visible only if the user is accessing the app with a web browser. Property client. You fix a bug in the code of your application, which is currently on version 10.0.2.1. You need to publish an updated version of the solution. Which version identifier should you use? A. 10.0.3.1. B. 10.0.2.2. C. 10.1.0.2. D. 11.0.0. Correct answer, B. Fabricam Incorporated has 2 divisions as shown in the Business Unit exhibit. Click the Business Unit tab. Fabricam Residences rents units short-term to clients. Fabricam Property Management deals with the maintenance of the units and manages the contractors who perform the maintenance. Clients and contractors are both stored in the contact entity. The manager of the Property Management Business Unit is a member of the Fabricam Residences Business Unit, which has the root security role as shown in the Security Role exhibit. Click the Security Role tab. The manager cannot see the contact record shown in the contact exhibit. Click the Contact tab. The manager cannot see the contact record shown in the contact exhibit. Click the Contact tab. Modify the security inheritance. Statement yes. Move the manager to the root Fabricam business unit. Statement no. Expand the read permission of the security role to be business unit level. Statement yes. A company has a development environment and a production environment. The production environment has several third-party managed and unmanaged solutions that made changes to the contact main form. You create a new solution in the development environment. You add the contact entity and the contact main form to the solution. You create a custom field on the contact entity. What happens when you perform these actions in the new solution and import the solution as managed into the production environment? Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. 1. Action: add the field to the middle of an existing section in the contact main form. Result: the field is appended to the end of the existing section. 2. Action: create a new section in the contact main form and add the field to the new section. Result: the field is added in a new section. 3. Action: create a new form and add the field to the middle of an existing section. Result: the field is inserted in the middle of the existing section. An organization uses Dynamics 365 Sales. The organization has accounting and customer service departments. You must restrict users in customer service from being able to change the value of the balance field on the contact records. The accounting team must be the only team able to edit this field. You need to create the appropriate solution without any customizations. What should you do first? A. Enable field security for the balance field and grant the customer service team read and update permissions. B. Create a customer service form and role and make the balance field read-only. C. Enable field security for the balance field and grant the accounting team read and update permissions. D. Create an accounting form and role and make the balance field read-only. Correct answer, C. You are developing a model-driven app for the purchasing department of an organization. You provision a new test environment and a security role. You select users to test the apps and assign the users to a security group named TestSG. If the tests succeed, a manager will perform additional testing in the production environment and then publish the app for the organization's purchasing department. You need to ensure that the test and production environments are configured correctly. What should you do? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. Ensure that only test users can access the test environment. Security artifact: set the test environment security group to TestSG. Assign test users the app security role. Ensure that only the manager can access the app in production. Security artifact: assign the manager the app security role. Ensure that test users can access the app in production. Set the production environment security group to TestSG. Ensure that purchasing department users can access the test environment. Add all users in the department to the TestSG security group. A travel company plans to track the address of places their clients visit in an entity named destination. Client information is captured as contact records. Client records include links to the places that clients visit. The company must be able to link multiple rating records to the new address record. You find a custom rating entity that is incomplete. You need to expand the rating entity to include contact, address, and rating information in one place. Which 3 actions should you perform? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Create a 1:(n) relationship between the contact system entity and the address system entity named destination. B. Create a mapping for the contact rating relationship. C. Create a 1:(n) relationship between the address system entity and the rating entity. D. Create a 1:(n) relationship between the contact system entity and the rating entity. E. Create a mapping for the destination rating relationship. F. Create a 1:(n) relationship between the destination entity and the rating entity. Correct answer, A, B, C. A company uses Dynamics 365 Sales and the Microsoft Online Services portal. The multi-select option set field data type is not supported in the portal. You need to copy the selected field value to the text field. How should you configure the organization service request? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. Correct answers. True. Attribute metadata. A bank uses a common data service solution to manage clients. Bank representatives perform client credit checks while the client is present. Credit checks may take up to 5 minutes to complete. Bank policy dictates that the bank representative's app must stay blocked until credit checks are complete. You need to display a model-driven app while credit checks run to ask the bank representative and client to wait for the credit check to complete. Which function should you use? A. xrm.navigation.openWebResourcePrefix.myPoliteMessage.html. B. xrm.navigation.openAlert dialog myPoliteMessage. C. xrm.utility.openWebResourcePrefix_myPoliteMessage.html. D. xrm.utility.showProgressIndicator myPoliteMessage. Correct answer, D. You are creating a model-driven app. Users need to see only the entities in the app navigation that are relevant to their role and their method of accessing the app. You need to restrict entities on the sub-areas in the sitemap. Which properties should you use? To answer, drag the appropriate properties to the correct requirements. Each property may be used once, more than once, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. Requirement: ensure that the entity is visible only if the user can create records. Property privileges. Requirement: ensure that the entity is not visible if the user is using an on-premises deployment. Property SKUs. Requirement: ensure that the entity is visible only if the user is accessing the app with a web browser. Property client. You are troubleshooting PowerApps solutions. You need to determine the cause for the identified issues. What is the root cause for each issue? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. Issue solution checker does not complete a run for one solution but works for a different solution. Reason: a Canvas app in the first solution has errors. Issue: you encounter an error on line 3 of a web resource as shown below. Reason: the code uses the following rule, web use strict mode. Create a PowerApps app that integrates with Dynamics 365 customer service. You update the app and run solution checker on the original solution. You receive an error stating solution checker cannot export the solution. You need to determine the primary cause for the issue. What is the primary cause? A. The original solution is locked because there is a dependent patch. B. The solution was not exported before running solution checker. C. The environment is in administrator mode. D. Solution checker cannot check default solutions. Correct answer, A. You are creating a model-driven app to track the time that employees spend on individual projects. You need to configure the app according to the company's requirements. Which components should you configure? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Requirement: ensure that the values stored in the project name field are discoverable in Advanced Find. Component entity. Requirement: display the original estimated duration as estimated start and end dates for the operation during time entry. Component quick view. You are developing a Power Platform solution. You plan to add 3 buttons to a form. The buttons have the following requirements. You need to complete each button's action. Which commands should you use? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Button 1: command now only. Button 2: switch or if. Button 3 is match text input 1. Text, emergency, contains and ignore case. A company imports data from files. The following code is created to import the files. Line numbers are included for reference only. If an error occurs when one of the contacts is created, processing will continue, and the remainder of the contacts will be created. Statement no. If you add the code, continue an error equals true at line 5, bad requests will not roll back the transaction. Statement no. Requests are processed in the sequence added to transaction request. Statement yes. Lines 19 to 23 are required for the contacts to be created. Statement no. You have a contact record that uses the GID 991BF2 FDD4752998426B7C0455B69. You need to assign the contact record as the primary contact for an account when you create the account. Which two code segments can you use? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. var data equals, name, Contaso account, primary contacted. Logical name, contact, id, 991BF2 FDD4752998426B7C0455B69. B. var data equals, name, Contaso account, primary contacted at odata.bind, /contacts 991BF2 FDD4752998426B7C0455B69. C. var data equals, name, Contaso account, primary contacted at odata.context, /contacts 991BF2 FDD4752998426B7C0455B69. D. var data equals, name, Contaso account, primary contacted, /contacts 991BF2 FDD4752998426B7C0455B69. Correct answer, A and B. A company has a model-driven app. A form that validates the date entered requires a custom button. The button must be available only under certain conditions. You need to define the command definition in the ribbon XML to meet the conditions for the button. Which elements should you use? To answer, drag the appropriate elements to the correct conditions. Each element may be used once, more than once, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. Condition: make the button appear when the form shows an existing record. Element display rule. Condition: make the button appear when the user has write privilege on the record. Element action. Condition: prevent the button from being used in bulk edit mode. Element enable rule. An organization uses Dynamics 365 Sales. You plan to use a JavaScript web resources file in the accounts form. The file has a dependency on two image web resource files and on the custom field new_ year of birth in the account entity. You need to add the dependencies for the JavaScript file. Which three actions should you perform? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Open the web resource file, add the two image web resources to the dependencies lists, and then add the custom field new_ year of birth to the dependencies list. B. From settings, select customizations and then select customize the system. C. In the account form, select form properties, select non-event dependencies, and then add the custom field new_ year of birth. D. Select account, select forms, and then select the account form. E. From web resources, select the JavaScript file for the account form and then select the JavaScript file. F. In the account form, select form properties and add the primary JavaScript file and the other two images web resources in form libraries. Correct answer, B, C, D. You open a Canvas app in edit mode. A warning message displays as shown in the graphic. Use the drop-down menus to select the answer choice that answers each question based on the information presented in the graphic. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. You need to troubleshoot the warning. What should you do? Navigate to Connections and add a new connection. Which component should you troubleshoot? Gallery 1. A company implements Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management. The company wants a button to display in the command bar when viewing accounts. You need to add the button using the ribbon workbench. In which three areas can you add a button for the account entity? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. In the home area for accounts. B. In the main body of a form. C. On the main application window. D. On the associated view of the account. E. On the account form. Correct answer, A, D, E. An organization uses Dynamics 365 Sales. You plan to add a custom button to the app ribbon. You need to ensure that the button displays only when conditions specified by business rules are met. Which two code segments can you use? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Grid context.refresh, B. Form context.ui.refresh ribbon refresh all, C. Form context.data.refresh save. Then success callback, error callback, D. Form context.ui.refresh ribbon, E. Form context.get control arg. Refresh, correct answer, B, D. A fine arts school uses a custom Canvas application based on the Microsoft Dataverse. Artists experience errors on their artist Canvas app and delays when switching pages. You need to identify the root causes of these issues. Which troubleshooting methods should you use? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Issue artist Canvas app has errors. Troubleshooting method sitemap validation. Issue application runs slowly. Troubleshooting method service performance in PowerApps analytics. You are developing a new Power Platform app. The checker fails with an error due to missing security roles. You need to add security roles to the PowerApps checker application user. Which two security roles should you add? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Global Discover Service role. B. Export Customizations. C. Environment Maker. D. Solution Checker. E. Resource Manager. Correct answer, B, D. You are creating a PowerApps app. The app must retrieve data from an API that requires two-factor authentication. You need to configure authentication. Which type of authentication should you implement? A. Server to server. B. API key-based. C. Basic. D. OAuth. Correct answer, D. You are creating a Canvas app that realtors use to identify neighbors for properties that are for sale. The OnStart property includes the following code: clear collect neighbor list, filter neighbor list, status equals active, clear collect realtor list, company list, clear collect regions, region list. The app is running slower than expected. You need to resolve the issue. What should you do? A. Replace all instances of the clear collect method with the connect method. B. Replace the existing code segment with the following code segment: concurrent, clear collect neighbor list, filter neighbor list, status equals active, clear collect realtor list, company list, clear collect regions, region list. C. Replace the existing code segment with the following code segment: clear collect neighbor list, filter neighbor list, status equals active, concurrent clear collect realtor list, company list, concurrent clear collect regions, region list. Correct answer, B. You are creating an app that connects to Microsoft Dataverse on a nightly basis. You plan to integrate the app with an external system. The application must not authenticate by using a Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, user account. You need to enable the application to authenticate to Dataverse. Which 4 actions should you perform in sequence? To answer, move the appropriate actions from the list of actions to the answer area and arrange them in the correct order. Actions. 1. Register the application in Azure AD with appropriate permissions. 2. Use the Dataverse application user username and password as credentials in the application. 3. Create the application user in Dataverse using the application user form. 4. Assign a security role to the application user in Dataverse. You are creating a new model-driven app. The app must meet the following requirements: display an image that can be resized without loss in quality. Use a client API function to return language localized text. You need to customize the app by using web resources. Which web resource types should you use? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. Requirement: display a resized image. Web resource type: SVG. Requirement: return language localized text. Web resource type: race. You are creating a PowerApps component framework, PCF, control. You test the control by using a local test harness. You need to complete testing. Which commands should you use? To answer, drag the appropriate commands to the correct functions. Each command may be used once, more than once, or not at all. You may need to drag the split bar between panes or scroll to view content. 1. Function: launch a second npm start window while tests run in the first window. Command: start npm start. 2. Detect changes in index.ts, control manifest.longput.sme, and other bundled TS files during testing without having to restart the test harness. Command: npm start watch. You are designing a model-driven app for a company's support desk team. You must add a button to the app that creates a reminder task. The button must only display to users if a service case is open for at least 7 days. You need to define the steps to create the button when App Designer is open. In which order should you perform the actions? To answer, move the appropriate actions from the list of actions to the answer area and arrange them in the correct order. Actions: 1. Edit the command bar. 2. Add a command button. 3. Add a data source to the component library. 4. Configure a visibility expression. 5. Create a task by using an onSelect expression. You are developing a model-driven app for a company that sells sporting goods. You add a button to a page that displays information for a product. The button must copy information for the selected product and create a record in the data source. You add the following code to the button. Line numbers are included for reference only. You need to complete the code. Which function should you insert at line 01? A. Update context. B. Is match. C. Load data. D. Patch. E. Save data. Correct answer, A. You create and deploy a Power Platform solution that includes synchronous plugins. Users report performance issues with the solution. You need to determine whether a plugin is the cause of the performance issues. Which 2 tools can you use? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Tracing. B. Data policies. C. Solution checker. D. ISV Studio. E. Microsoft Dataverse Analytics. Correct answer, A, C.